Hello YouTube, I'm your Huckleberry, and this is the Spyderco Shaman. But as you can see, this is not your average run-of-the-mill, everyday, ordinary Shaman. No. This is the Blade HQ exclusive Shaman with the translucent jade G10 scales, which are lovely, and with the CPM M4 blade steel. The original Shaman comes with just black G10 scales and S30V steel, which is a good steel in its own right, but here this is the upgraded M4, which is really nice. This, I believe, sold out in record time. As a matter of fact, when I went to go look at Blade HQ's website just a little bit ago before this review, they have a little note on there that states that this version of the Shaman sold out in record time. I have seen reports that it sold out, anywhere from 4 to 6 minutes. So, let's say 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, I don't know how many there were, but in 5 minutes, this was gone. So I was one of the ones lucky enough to snag one because I was sitting there on my computer at work. Don't tell my boss. At work, refreshing about 3 minutes before the drop, making sure that I was there to grab one when the drop went live. And I was lucky enough to get one in my cart and get it paid for before they ran out, because it sounds like a lot of people got left out on that one because it sold out in 5 minutes. But this review, while I've never handled the S30V version of this, this review can pretty well serve as a review of that one as well, because the only differences, as far as I know, like I said, I have not handled it, but the only differences that I know of, that I have heard about, are in fact the steel and the scales. That's it. The ergonomics, the fit and finish, the action, all of that should be similar, should be the same. The only difference is going to be the blade steel and the scale. So this review can essentially serve as a review of the S30V version as well. So anyway, let's get into it. Let's get into some specs. Here we have an 8-inch overall length with a 3.6-inch blade length, a 0.15-inch blade thickness. As stated earlier, this is an M4 steel with a drop point blade with a flat grind and a really nice satin finish. I like that satin finish on that. Also, as stated earlier, we have the jade G10 scales that are over stainless steel liners, and this is Spyderco's compression lock, and a lot of people really like the compression lock. I am one of them. Makes for a good fidget knife. So, and let's get a weight for the Shaman and see with the AccuWeight scale and see what we're coming in at weight-wise. And we're going to come in at about 5.3 ounces. So 5.3 ounces for that over a 3.6-inch blade at 3.5 ounces, so that's a little heavy, but I will say that this is billed as a heavy-duty folder. So when you gotta, I always kind of take that into account. Like with a lot of ZTs, they're going to be a little bit heavier, but they're also built as tank knives, as heavy-duty knives. So when you're building something as that, and it's a little bit heavier, then, because as I've stated before in my other videos, I kind of like to stay in the range of 1 ounce for every 1 inch of blade. But when you're building something as a heavy-duty tank folder or whatever, if it's a little bit heavier, I take that into account, and that's okay. I don't mind a little bit knives that are a little bit weighty. Anyway, I'm a little bit weighty myself, so I don't mind knives that are a little bit weighty. It's okay. But okay, so let's get into some size comparisons here. And let's just go ahead and look at one of those ZT tank knives, shall we? Let's look at the ZT 0562, and this is being a kind of a limited edition itself for the Tiger Stripe blade. This is going to be just about the exact same size. You're looking here, if you own a ZT 0562, that's going to be about the exact same size as the Spyderco Shaman there. And you're going to have a little more cutting edge with the ZT, as you can see there, because it doesn't have a finger choil like the Shaman does. But in terms of overall length and overall blade length, just about the same there. So Another really good knife, by the way. Okay, let's look at it something against a little bit smaller. Let's look at it against a K-Bar Dozier. The K-Bar Dozier is going to be quite a bit smaller, and it's of course, kind of advertised as something not as a heavy-duty tank folder. It's advertised just kind of as a everyday task folder, and it excels at that. Honestly, it's good at that. But there it is against the Shaman. All right, let's look at it against. How about against another Spyderco favorite, the Paramilitary 2. And again, there you're pretty similar in terms of overall size and blade length and everything. You're getting pretty similar. I will say, even though it's very similar in terms of length and blade length and everything, the Shaman does feel more heavy duty than the PM2. And the PM2 is no daisy. I guess we can say it's no pansy. This is probably quite a few people's. This is probably a lot of people's heavy duty folder, the PM2. But the Shaman it feels more robust than even the PM2. Okay, let's look at it against another large folder. How about the Real Steel Terra? I love this knife too. This is a good knife. There it is against the Real Steel Terra. The Real Steel Terra is going to be just slightly longer, coming in at 8.4 inches overall. So just a touch longer, but similar in style. Similar in feel. I will say that the Shaman does feel a little more robust, probably because of the lock. The compression lock feels more robust than just the liner lock, and so that's probably where the difference is coming in the robustness of it, shall we say. The Shaman feels a little bit more robust, and probably the blade stock. Blade stock's going to be, it's not too much thicker, but it is a little bit thicker, as you can see there. So that's where the difference in feeling is coming in the robustness. Even though the Terra is going to be slightly longer overall length, the Shaman does feel more robust. And how about one more smaller knife? How about the Kershaw Mini Natrix? We compare it against. There we go, and it's a lot larger than the Mini Natrix there, as you can see. Let's put it on top there and you can kind of get a good idea. Yeah, quite a bit larger. And I'm someone who, I like all kinds of knives. I think my channel shows that, that I like all kinds of knives. I like big knives, I like small knives. I like the knives that I usually will go for last, kind of in my pecking order of things, are kind of the big overbuilt tank knives. And I don't think this is like an overbuilt tank knife per se. It's not a ZT300. A ZT300, now that is an overbuilt tank knife and not one that I'm going to be, I like it. I've had one before, and hopefully I can get another one to show you on the channel. I like it, but man, it's just larger than what I need for my everyday task. That is a big overbuilt tank knife in my opinion, and this does not quite reach that level. But it's also a little bit bigger and more tanky than what I would normally go for. But I'll just get into it here. I absolutely, positively, 100% love this knife. I love it. I loved it from the second that I took, and that usually doesn't happen to me where I take something out of a box, I'm just like, oh yeah, just immediately, I'm just like, yes, this is for me. This was made for me. I usually don't do that. But with this knife, I've done that with very few knives. With this knife, I did. And surprisingly enough, for someone who doesn't like big, overbuilt tank knives, I did that with this one too, where I just took it out of the box and I was like, oh yeah, that's for me. That was made for me. I definitely did that with this Shaman. And I had seen reviews on it, and I had heard that it was really good, and it's a good tank knife. Nick Shabazz, who's a really good reviewer, I'm sure if you're watching this channel, you've probably heard of him because you're into knives. But he is someone who really does not care for larger knives, even less than I do. Not that I don't care for him, but I mean, he just doesn't really like the big overbuilt knives. He loves this knife as well. He loves the Shaman as well. So, I mean, that tells you how good of a knife it is. If it can get guys who don't normally go for this size or this style of knife to really love it, it's a great knife. And this is a great knife, and I love it. And let's just get into the pros and cons Spoiler alert, there aren't many cons, but let's get into the pros and cons of this knife. The first pro is just the ergonomics. I mean, when I took it out of the box for the first time and I put it in my hand, it just melts into my hand. And it was made for my hand. I love it. I wear size extra large gloves. I have extra large hands. And this knife just melts into my hand, and it just feels great. It just feels like it was made for my hand. I like the fact that you have a finger choil here, but I like the fact that you can use the finger choil or not use the finger choil. And what I mean by that is that there are some knives that have a finger choil, but it feels like that you have to use the finger choil in order to get the ergonomics to really work for you. It feels like that you have to choke up and use that in order to get the ergonomics to feel just right. With this knife, if I don't choke up and I use it back here and I'm using this knife, it feels good. And if I need to choke up and get a little bit more control and do some detail work, it also feels good. So it feels good either way. And so I think that is the best use of a finger choil, is when it can feel good using it either way. And this knife does. It feels good when I'm choking up, or it feels good when I'm back here. And so I really like that, and I appreciate that about this knife. The fit and finish on it is excellent. There are no hot spots whatsoever. The clip is not a hot spot. These scales are contoured and rounded and chamfered nicely. No sharp edges whatsoever. Even though that this blade here is kind of rounded off, or not rounded off, it's kind of squared off at the spine, it's still not sharp on the edges. So that's a good thing. The fit and finish on this guy is just excellent. There are, like I said, no sharp edges. Everything feels good. The only thing I would say is that right here at the back spacer, the only maybe little knock on the fit and finish, doesn't meet up exactly. The G10 scales, I don't know if you can tell there, are just slightly proud. They're a little bit proud of that back spacer. So, I mean, there's kind of one little tiny knock right there, nitpick, is that it's just not exactly flush. But, you know, that doesn't really affect the usability of the knife or anything. So, the jimping is, I mean, Spyderco does jimping well, and the Shaman is no exception. This jimping is excellent. I think Spyderco does the best jimping consistently does the best jimping out of any knife company out there. It is the perfect, it's got enough bite that you can really dig in and use it, but it is finished well enough that it's not gonna hurt. It doesn't hurt, it doesn't dig into your thumb and cut you and hurt. The edge of the blade should cut you, not the jimping. And this doesn't. This jimping does not cut you at all. It is just fantastic, and it's got it underneath on the finger choil, which I love. I always appreciate when they put it on the finger choil there, just for added security and to really lock in case you're really having to bear down and do some heavy duty cutting there. This jimping is going to lock your fingers in. It is great. They have some of the best jimping that there is. It is thinner than I expected. This handle is thinner than I expected, which is great. You know, I got it out, I put it in my hand, and I was like, oh, that's not, you know, super thick. That's not bad at all. That feels really good. The handle is thinner than what I expected it to be, which for a kind of a larger, more robust knife is nice. That the handle is a little bit thinner than what I expected. So that's very nice. It has good action. It has a really good action. It's riding on phosphor bronze washers. I don't know if you can see there. You can kind of see the copper color there. Phosphor bronze washers. And it has a good action. See, I mean, with just a little bit of coaxing, falls shut. And I've flipped this thing. That did wear in a little bit. It didn't do that quite at first. It didn't fall shut quite that easily at first. I have opened and closed this thing about 1 million times since I've gotten it, because it is such a good, oop, there we go. Of course, on camera. And so it has worn in very, very nicely. And now it with just a little bit of work, it about falls shut every time. I mean, there you go. It has a fantastic action with the phosphor bronze washers there. It opens smooth. I mean, it is so smooth. It is really, I mean, they did such a good job with this knife. And as I've heard multiple reports, I've seen a lot of reviews, talked to quite a few people who have a Shaman. They're all just about the same. They say the same. The action is great. And so they got good quality control on it, which is good. I always like hearing that they have good quality control. And Spyderco does have good quality control. This is made in their Golden, Colorado, USA Earth factory. So this is an American-made knife, which is always good. I am American, so I enjoy supporting American-made knives, and so there is one. The action is, I just can't say enough about that action. I mean, I just sit here and fidget with this thing. I really enjoy that action. What's next? Here we go. It is actually slicey. I mean, that's a pretty thick stock there. You know, we said 0.15 of an inch. So it's, I mean, you can see that's a good chunk of M4 there. And it is pretty slicey, but it is slicey. It's ground really well. And it did come sharp. It came really sharp. They did a good job sharpening this guy at the factory, and it came sharp, and it works so well. Is it the most slicey thing in the world? No, it's not. I've had slicier knives, but for something, again, kind of in the context of being a bit of a tank, robust folder, it's slicey. It's definitely slicey for that. And I really like that. I like slicey knives myself, and this is slicey. Something good about this, now this is going to be, of course, exclusive to this one, is the M4 steel. This is my first experience with M4. And so, I'll have to come back to you when I got, more of a long-term use on it, because this is my first experience with M4. But from just a little bit that I've experienced so far, I really like it. It's got a really nice, keen edge on it. It seems to be, I haven't done just a ton of cutting with it yet. I will, because I'm going to be carrying this guy a lot. I really like this knife. I will be doing a lot of cutting with it, so we'll see how it holds up over time. But from all reports, everything that I've heard, every review that I've seen, when it comes to M4, the things that I have read, when it comes to M4, now it is a tool steel, so it's not stainless, not completely stainless. It is a tool steel, but I like tool steels. I think tool steels takes better edges and hold edges better longer. So an M4 is supposedly no exception. I can't speak from personal experience, but like I said, from everything that I've read, from people that I've talked to that have had M4 knives, they really like M4. It's a good steel. It's not terribly hard to sharpen. It takes a good edge, a good sharp edge, and will retain that edge pretty well. So I appreciate that it is M4. Now again, that can also, we can go ahead and get into the few little nitpick cons that I have here. It's not a stainless steel. It is a tool steel, which means you're gonna have to do a little bit of maintenance, such like D2. D2 is not a true stainless steel, so you got to do a little bit of maintenance. Now, all that means to me is that you put a little bit of your favorite corrosion inhibitor. I use EDCI, which you can buy, which is made for knives. It says knife care right on the bottle. I use EDCI. You just spray some on, you rub it in, you let it sit for a couple minutes, you wipe it off. And it is a corrosion inhibitor, and that's going to keep this knife looking like it does. Now, you may be someone who doesn't mind a patina and, in fact, likes a patina. M4 will patina on you if you want it to. If you let it, it will patina on you. I would not use this for food prep because and it's not really made for food prep anyway, but I would not use this for food prep because it's going to patina on you. M4 still will, and that's going to be a negative to some people. Some people like a pure stainless steel, and that's fine. I mean, you could go with something like 154 CM, which is a stainless steel. So, or there's any number of stainless steel. S30V, get the S30V version. It is a stainless steel. There are any number of steels. So yeah, if M4, if the The maintenance of M4 is going to be something that you don't want to keep up with, and it's not that big a deal. Like I said, you spray some stuff on. It doesn't even have to be that EDCI. It can be resistol. You can spray some of that on, and I don't think it's called resistol, is it? No. You'll know what I'm talking about. The stuff that I use for my guns, the name is escaping me, and I do not have a bottle in front of me right now, but that stuff, you can spray on the stuff. Hitchcock 45, that's a good channel if you're someone who's into shooting. That's a good channel to watch. He uses it all the time, and you can spray that on. Let it sit for a couple minutes, wipe it off, and you're done. And you do that, you know, if you want to really keep up with it, you do it once a month. And you just keep up with it and you'll be fine. So it's not that big of a deal to me, but to some people that's a big deal. They don't want to do it. So get the S30V version. That's a true stainless. So you can use that. But anyway, so the M4, it's like with any steel, it's got its positives and it's got its negatives. It's got its drawbacks. So anyway, if that's a drawback for you, but you still want to experience the awesomeness that is the Shaman, get the S30V version. And it'll do you well. The second kind of little nitpick that I have there is the clip. Now, I do appreciate that the clip is this style clip where, you know, you can just, the lanyard hole just goes right through it. I do appreciate that. But, you got this much sticking out. This is not Spyderco's best clip. You know I love the wire clip. But I also like Spyderco's. They got some deep carry clips that I like. They've got some different clips that I prefer over this one. Now, this is not that big of a deal because you could just get an MXG Gear deep carry clip and put that on here, and it'll work just fine. The PM2 two-hole clip will work for this just fine. I've seen people already do it. So I might go ahead and get me one of those. But this is not my favorite Spyderco clip. It's better than some, for sure. It's better... See, because like on the PM2, it's better than this clip. I'll tell you that because, then you got this. That's ugly to me right there. I do not like that. With it just looks all jammed up right there where you got the clip and the lanyard hole. At least this kind of integrates the lanyard holding clip into one, so I'll give it that. But just a slight gripe. I wish it had a different clip on it. The scales, they're a little bit smooth. Now, it doesn't matter as much because you got this great jimping and you got this guard right here. And even if your finger does slip up, you still got to get over this finger choil and the jimping there in order to slide onto the blade and cut yourself. So it's not really dangerously slippery, but it is a little bit slippery as Nick Shabazz would say, this is not a good knife for the Vaseline factory. Because the scales are a bit smooth and a bit slippery. I wish they had a little bit more texture to them, personally. Now, that's just kind of probably just a personal little nitpick thing, but that's my opinion. I do like that they milled out the liners, so that's good. Reduce some weight there. That is a positive thing, and I like that you can kind of see through there. As a matter of fact, hold on just a sec, guys. Let me grab a flashlight. Let me grab one of my flashlights. Here's my copper Olight S1 baton here, which is a good one. And let me show you. That's cool. See, I like that. I like that translucence of the scales, and I like the milled liners that you can kind of see through there. This gives you a better idea. Out in daylight, you can really see it a lot better when you're outside. So that's why I grabbed the flashlight to give a better sense of the translucence of them. But anyway, I like that a lot. I like the translucence of the liners. Okay, guys. So, that's overall, get a Shaman. Shaman, get one. Whatever you call it, get one. This version is, of course, sold out. I don't know. I doubt they make another one in the satin blade. I'm positive. There will be more sprints coming for sure because, if that one's sold out in 5 minutes, you can bet your bottom dollar that they are going to capitalize on that, and you are probably about to see this in every scale color, every blade steel. It's probably going to turn into another PM2, with all the different versions that they put out of this. I mean, if that one sold out in 5 minutes, they're going to run it into the ground. So if you didn't get in on this one, I'm sure there's probably an M4 DLC version that will be coming pretty soon with the Jade scale, so you can hold out for that one. If you don't like that, just wait, because I'm sure there's going to be a 20CV, an M390, whatever steel that they've done the PM2 in. I'm sure you're probably about to get a Shaman version of that, a Shaman version of it. You're probably going to see this in all different colors, all different blade steels, because it's a popular knife, and for good reason. I'm telling you right now, this is not going anywhere. There are people out there, I would suggest you don't do this, and I hate when people do this. I know we live in a capitalist society, and part of me doesn't mind because we do, but part of me also doesn't like that, there are people who bought 4 of these, and that's kind of a con too. That's kind of the ugly side of this. There are people who bought 4 of these and are now selling them for, $250, $280, whatever, when they got it for $199. $199 was the price on this. But there are people who bought 4 and are selling 3 for, well over $200. 280, 250, whatever. They're making some money. Well, I wish they probably, honestly, I wish they'd limit it to 1 per customer, but whatever. I mean, we don't have to get into all that. That's a whole different thing. Like I said, part of me doesn't mind because, we are capitalists in this country, and there's part of me that appreciates somebody getting out there and making a buck, but there's also part of me that's like, oh, not on this. Come on, guys. But anyway, let's get off of that, shall we? Let's not get into that. That's a whole can of worms. Let's not get into that. But I love this knife. I think that if you're okay with the size and weight of it, try one. It's fantastic. I love it. This is a knife that's not going anywhere. I'm going to keep it with me. It's probably going to stay with me from, I always say that there's only one knife in my collection that is never for sale or trade, and that is the Sabenza, my large Sabenza 21 with a Tanto blade. But this one it would have to be one heck of an offer in order for me to give this up. An offer that would be ridiculous, that most people would not want to pay, because I love it that much. I really love it. I enjoy it. Also, I just want to address, some people have said that in this version, because it's a satin finish instead of the stonewash finish of the S30V version, that there's a little bit of the edges and the Spidey hole there are a little bit sharper. I'm not really getting that. I mean, like I said, I haven't handled an S30V version, but for me, that doesn't feel sharp at all, quite honestly. I mean, it feels just fine. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because I've heard several others bring that up. So I just wanted to bring that up. But for me, I mean, it's fine. It does not feel sharp. So anyway, that's going to do it for this one, guys. If you enjoyed this review, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you hated this review, go ahead and give me a thumbs down. It's okay. But comment below what you liked, what you disliked, what you want to see, what you don't want to see. Constructive criticism, I love it all. If you just want to say hey and just want to chat for a minute, I'm always up for that. I enjoy chatting with you guys. I enjoy reading those comments and responding back to you. So leave those comments down below. And whatever you do, please, 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 please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell over there so that you will be informed each and every time that I release a new video. And I have a lot of stuff coming up. As you saw, the S1 baton, that's probably going to be coming up sometime. And I got a lot more knives to review for you guys. So thank you very, very much for watching. I do truly appreciate it. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye.